Thank you so much for your time here today. Whether you're watching on the replay or you're joining us, you are very, very welcome. It is a lovely, gloriously hot, sunny day here in the UK. And quite frankly, I think we should all be out. But that just begs a question, in this type of weather, what kind of PR could you be doing? I had some social media content up a couple of days ago of PR angles that you could be taking in this weather. So what kind of product are you selling? If it's ice creams, you're on to a winner. Get out there, start showcasing what you do. Maybe you're a first aid trainer. Maybe you have some advice on what to do if people are too hot, if they overheat, how to stay hydrated, what happens if you get stung by a nettle or a wasp. All these different angles that the weather can create for us. So have a wee think about that as well. Also suggested if maybe you're a health and safety advisor, maybe you're a community organizer and you want to put out some warnings to young people, asking them not to swim in really cold quarries or lakes, because tragedies have happened. So again, think what's going on around you. Think of those different PR angles, and if you want some help, just give me a wee shout. So how to get into the media without a big budget. I'm Sara McCracken. I am an independent PR practitioner. I am not an agency. I've worked in house for many, many years, but I've spent over 25 years helping people just like you get their stories into the media. I run my business from a small farm here in Northern Ireland, so I know what it is to promote yourself without a team or agency as well. I've also worked in very, very small teams in relatively large organisations with very limited budgets. So again, PR is not free advertising, but it is a way to build trust and credibility with your target audience. I've built Press, which I'm going to tell you about later, which is my online community, because I see so many talented business owners who just don't know where to start when it comes to doing their PR. So it's to give confidence, advice, structure, and guidance to people who want to get their profile out there. It's about stepping out from away from behind that social media bubble, and just helping people really start to build a profile and credibility. PR is not complicated. It is easy when you know how, and this is where agencies aren't that pleased when I start talking about this, because if you don't have a budget, how do you even get started? So what I hope to do as well is give you advice and guidance today, whether we work together or not in the future, about how, when you do have the budget and you do start working with an agency, you know what questions to ask, you know what good looks like, and you're starting to get the outcomes that you need. I'm working with agencies at the minute through some of my clients. So again, it's just that ongoing conversation and, asking the right questions to get the outcome that you need. So in terms of what you do, drop it in the chat if you're here online with me. What do you do? Share your links. What do you most want to know about getting in the media? And again, if you're watching this on the replay, drop me an email with this information, and I can certainly help you with that in terms of getting you out into the correct publications. And again, a lot of people think, they just don't know where to start when it comes to speaking to the media. So does that sound familiar? And again, I hear this time and time again, so you're absolutely not alone if that is your thought. And by the end of this short period of time, I'm hoping that's going to feel very, very different. Everything I'm sharing with you today is about getting coverage about you, your product, your service, getting that into the media. It's about raising your profile, becoming more visible, building credibility and trust with your customers. And even, if you don't know where to start when it comes speaking to the media, a lot of people then don't want to actually literally speak to the media. And again, it's just about giving confidence, identifying your story, identifying your talking points and helping you do that as well. So I'm hoping you're here today or watching this in a replay because you want to learn how to get into the media. And a lot of people do choose to do their own PR, especially when it comes to small businesses. Budgets are tight, I know that, and you're just getting started, and that is absolutely fine. You don't need a huge big agency. You don't need a huge budget. What you need is a plan and the right approach, and it's never too early to start. And that's what I really want you to take away from this. It's never too early to do PR for your business, and PR is for every business, no matter what size you are, especially if you're just starting out. Maybe you're a founder. That is a brilliant story to tell about why you've created your business. I'm seeing a lot on my socials at the minute about people doing local bakehouses. They've got units just outside their house, they're baking delicious cakes. They need to be doing PR as well. They have as much right to do it as those huge, large multinational organizations. So in terms of what PR actually is, the default is, oh, sure, you just send out press releases. And I absolutely love media work. I love it. But there is more to PR than that. Marketing is about making your audience aware of your brand, your products, your services. And there's a lot of hype out there online about, online marketing, how to do your marketing, how to sell more stuff. And that is absolutely right and proper. And that's linked very much to advertising. It's about bringing attention to products and services. So you pay for that space. And again, a perfectly legitimate business activity. But again, in my opinion, these things all need to tie in together with your PR. And public relations, PR, is about cultivating relationships between your brand, your product or service, and your audiences organically, your clients, your customers, who you want to be talking to. And again, it's about building that reputation and trust. And again, if you think about it, your reputation is about what other people are going to say about you, what they think about you, especially when you're not in the room. So again, it's about putting that positive profile forward. Now, this is not spin. If you have a shoddy reputation, you're going to get found out. No amount of PR is going to cover that up. But the PR aspect is so important. Getting those online articles, those media articles, better socials, because when a potential customer searches for you online and finds a really great media article featuring you, that creates credibility in their mind before you've even spoken to them. That's what PR can do for you. So think yourself, when you're looking for a product or service, and you Google it, if you can't find any online footprint, you're going to be really suspicious immediately. I've been looking for a lot of contacts recently for one of my clients. And again, it's really hard sometimes to find specific people online. And then you start to think, do they really exist or not? But again, keep in mind PR, reputation, trust, and your credibility. So think of all the ways you can show up publicly. Think of all the places where a potential customer, a journalist, or a partner might come across you. And each one of those is a credibility marker. They all add up, and your customers are talking about you even when you're not in the room. So again, PR is about taking control of it's taking control of what you put into the world to create that positive perception in the minds of others. So, these are all on social media, I'm quite sure. You're maybe going to events, to networking, maybe you're hosting events. Have you applied to speak on a podcast? Do love a good podcast myself. Are you writing blogs? Your website's there. And again, media relations is a real key part of this. As Oprah says, in the end, all you have is your reputation, and your reputation is being built every single day, whether you're actively managing it or not. And we don't want to leave it to chance. I mean, you just have to take a look at the headlines to see people's reputations taking an absolute nosedive. Gerald Ratner is the case study from way back in the day prior to social media. One stupid joke and his multi-million-pound jewelry empire collapsed within a couple of weeks. But again, have a look at what's out there in the media, who's doing what. You can see the reputations starting to come under threat. And a good example of that actually is Farm Fest. Again, a lot of stuff is coming up on my socials at the minute. I did a couple of videos on it yesterday. So that is run by Jeremy Clarkson and his team. But a lot of the stand holders were really annoyed at the lack of footfall. They weren't making sales. Now, there's obviously no guarantee of sales, so this isn't about the rights and wrongs of that, but this is about the reputation of Farm Fest, who organised it. So my advice to them would be to sit down with your stand holders, understand their frustrations, because they're very genuine. They spent thousands of pounds to be here, and do better next year. You need to take that feedback in. So again, what I've been encouraging organisations to do as well is to have some sort of reputation crisis comms plan in place to start to manage those types of things. Digressing slightly, as I am wont to do. Going to cover today actionable steps you can take right now. I'm going to tell you about press and how to work with me. And again, any questions, you can ask them today. You can send them to me afterwards, but I am here to help. And this is the best way for me to share what 25 years of doing PR looks like in practice. I am not here to gatekeep. I want everybody to succeed when it comes to their PR. So please ask me absolutely anything at any time. So you're in the right place if you maybe don't know where to start when it comes to your PR, or you really worry about other people thinking, who does she think she is to be doing this? unfortunately see a lot of it about. Maybe you see other businesses out there and think, well, I hear that should be me. I could have talked about that, or my business is better than theirs. Why am I not, in the media, for example? Or if you want a tried and tested framework to follow, I love a good process. I love a good framework. I'm going to share mine with you as well. So if any of those resonate with you, you're very welcome. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And also, you might be just feeling a bit invisible in your industry. There's certainly more than one PR practitioner about. There's umpteen, different versions of your business out there at any one time. And I do believe there is enough for all of us to go round in terms of business. But if you feel a bit invisible, I can certainly help with that. I know you're good at what you do. But if nobody's seeming to notice, a PR approach will help with that. And, I know you're probably juggling all the things and maybe just need that expert support. I mean, obviously, I'm the PR expert. I am no good with numbers and accounts. That's why I have an accountant. I'm looking to get a VA in place at the minute as well because, admin doesn't fill me with joy. There's too much things to juggle. So it is perfectly acceptable to get that expert support that you need. And again, if you want that simple strategic way to get you, your product, your business, your service noticed, PR is absolutely the right approach for you. And I've spoken with hundreds of people over the years, 25 years apparently. Here's why they're failing to get into the media. There's patterns that come up again and again. They don't know how to get started, so they don't take action at all. When you just feel really, really overwhelmed with all the things, so just nothing happens. Or they jump in without a strategy or a plan, and it's a real scattergun approach to doing stuff, which leads to little outcome. Now, don't get me wrong, large organizations do that as well. There's a big shiny thing at the end and they all just gravitate towards that. But if it's not linked to what it is you're actually trying to achieve as a business, it's not going to do anybody any good. Or maybe your comms approach isn't aligned to business planning. I see this a lot as well. Big businesses, small businesses, all shapes and sizes. So again, what's the point? If you don't have a strategic business goal, you then won't know what comms to do to help achieve that goal. So your comms has to fit with your business plan. Or maybe they lack a structured approach to raising their profile and getting visible. Again, it's all about the plan. It's knowing where you want to get to. And again, because of all this, they then start to miss opportunities to get in the media because they just don't know what to do. And that is okay. If you're not a comms expert, that is fine. But it does then, start to make you think like you're starting to fail. And that's not right either. These things are all fixable. And that's what today is about. And that is why I've set up my business to try and help you overcome some of these. So, three things that we're going to cover. What is stopping you from getting it in the media? What's missing when it comes to getting in the media? And again, I'm going to give you actions you can take right now, like really specific doable things that you can do this afternoon, maybe over a cup of tea or a cold drink, probably would be more apt in the garden this afternoon. So first of all, what's stopping you from getting in the media? And again, there's six areas I find that come up time and time again. That stop people from doing their PR, from getting their profile raised, and so go through each one. Be honest with yourself, note it down in your notebook, type it in the chat if you're feeling brave, if any of them resonate with you. So number one, the absolute killer is I don't know where to start. How does the media even work? Where do I begin? And if that's you feel then really stuck at square one. Sorry, I just need to check my chat. So again, don't know where to start. Perfectly legitimate. I see it all the time. Number two is I feel like I'm making it up as I go along. So it's a real scattergun approach. And there's no real results from it because again, you don't know where to start and who you're going to talk to and what are you going to write about and what's your story. And again, it's it is something I see time and time again from small business owners. And again, taking action can feel really overwhelming. What have I got to say? And why should a journalist listen to me? And I have absolutely been there. And before I started my business, when I was just setting up on my own, I was side hustling and I was really thinking, I couldn't even write a LinkedIn post. Do you know, what did I have to say about it? And once I got that first one out of the way, I think it was about, I bought a sheep market and I equated that back to PR. And again, it got easier after that. Then it starts to flow. Once you take that one step, then another one step, then another one step. And again, I hear this a lot as well. I don't want to look like I'm showing off. There's a real fear of judgment out there. Who do they think they are. And again, I did a wee video on my socials about this the other day. I was in a Facebook group, and it's connected with an award. And one of the people had posted in the group that they got really good media coverage, like it was brilliant, and they felt really embarrassed at sharing the links of the coverage within this group. And like we're all rooting for each other, it's all part of the same awards, but had this real fear of judgment, I think, as well. And I find that really, really sad. Because it's not showing off, it's telling people how good you are. It's getting what it is you do in front of your ideal clients. Because if you don't get in front of them, you're not going to make any sales. So you're not showing off. So toot your own horn, as they say. If you need some help, I can help you with that. And if the thought of actually speaking to journalists makes you feel physically sick, it's called the dry book here in Northern Ireland. I don't know where people are dialing in from or watching this on replay, but it can be a real kind of like that's your nerves talking, and we can absolutely reframe that. And a lot of people, I don't like how I sound or look. I just had an email in from a client today. I need them to do an audio clip. Oh, I don't like how I sound, but if I don't have your audio clip, I can't get you on the radio. It's as simple as that. And it's about how your audience perceives you. And I guarantee your audience are thinking you look great and you sound great. And again, if you don't know any journalists, they're easy enough to find. It's not a secret. And I can help you with that. So you're probably also thinking, as a small business owner, or you're in a very, very busy team in an organization, I just don't have time for all of this. I've got 200 things on my to-do list. I've got to do my accounts. I've got to do my social media. I've got to actually go and talk to my customers. I've got to pack the orders. The juggle is absolutely real. And I get that. I have 3 notebooks on the go for different things. And again, there's lists in every single one. But that is okay. We just need to take that deep breath, take a step back, and carve out the PR time. So the outcome of all of these challenges, shall we call them politely, is that no action then gets taken at all. If you stay stuck, easy for me to say, at any of the 6 points, here's what's happened. Here's what happens. No action at all, no profile, no visibility in the media. No one will know about you. How will people find out you exist? And you will lose sales to your customers. And you know what? The people in the media, the people who are getting the better coverage, getting on podcasts, they are no better than you. They have taken action. And I think just keep that in your head as well. What action can you take to change this to start getting the outcomes that you deserve? So just a wee quick check-in. Is this resonating? If you could drop a yes in the chat, that would be epic. If you're watching it on replay, drop me a comment down and below, send me an email. And again, it's not about committing you to anything, but it's committing you to yourself that you want to then start taking action. And again, if I can share any specific information with you, you just only have to ask. We've got some yeses in the chat. That's good. We're on the right tracks here. And again, if you're going to hang out with me, whether today, on socials, in the future, I run these webinars on a monthly basis. I'm going to change it up for next month when I'm back from the holidays. You're going to learn a whole pile of different things about PR. The exact formula to pitch to the press and secure media coverage. Sounds really trendy to say you've got the exact formula to something, but again, it's really, really simple to learn what the press wants and to build your credibility so that they want to hear from you. One of my best-selling training courses is how to prepare your press releases and pitches. It's a real tried and tested approach over many years, and it's the best structure to use. Now, you can use AI to get a press release out, and it'll be absolutely rubbish. I don't know if I can say shite, but this is my recording, so I'm going to say it. If you don't know what good looks like, so I use AI all the time. I love it. It's good for brainstorming, for creating content if I'm feeling really stuck, but you need to edit everything. So if you don't understand what a good press release looks like and how it will grasp the journalist's attention, no amount of ChatGPT stuff is going to help you get coverage. And I've been presented with things, shall we say, that have been clearly written by AI that I don't even know what they're about. They're convoluted, they're waffly, they're not good enough to send to a journalist. So I do have AI prompts you can download. I can certainly get you the links for that. But again, I would like to be in a position to show you how to do it, what the correct structure looks like, the formula you need to follow, and then you'll be able to get better hits in the future with the media. And again, building your confidence without burning out is so important as well. When you're feeling like that real overwhelm in terms of the to-do list and you don't know where to start, again, preparing and practicing is the most important thing you can do when you have a media interview lined up. And again, I love helping people prepare for that. You know, I can tell you all the stories about the time I had all the chief executives in front of me, and I was asking quite mean questions, but better to do that in advance of interview, a committee hearing, whatever it is, and get your answers correct. And again, it's by helping you absolutely shine in your interviews, especially if you have a good news story. You know, maybe you've won an award, or maybe you've created job opportunities. You know, those are really good stories. So again, preparing and practicing in advance is going to help you get that story across. And again, you need to make PR work on your terms. So this is where my press framework comes in. It stands for plan, reach, engage your audience, tell your story, and shine. And it's just a five-stage approach that removes the overwhelm and just gives you that repeatable system. And that's what I've built into the press membership, but I also use it on a daily basis when working with other clients as well. Now, you're possibly thinking, so, but I'm not ready. You know, I've only just started. I've no idea what I'm doing. I've no budget. We've covered all of that. You don't need a budget. We need some time. And I do hear this an awful lot. And again, it's never too early to do PR for your business. In fact, the earlier you start, the better. And remember, taking action is what's separating you from all your other competitors out there. This is from the lovely Tony. So I've got some reviews on my Google business page. There's testimonials on LinkedIn. Feel free to go and check those out. Tony was one of my founder members in press, and he hadn't that long started out on his own. He packed in, you know, the corporate job. He is set up as a career consultant. He's absolutely flying. So again, he'd followed me for a while on socials. We built up a bit of an online relationship, even though I probably hadn't known about it. But again, that was me putting myself out there to build my profile and my reputation. So again, he's flying. He's secured speaking gigs. He's won an award. He's pitched to podcasts. I mean, it's brilliant what he's achieved within our supportive community. So again, really early on in his independent career consultant journey, he's been doing PR, and it's absolutely bringing him all the rewards. Delighted for him. Now, maybe you're thinking as well, you've tried PR and it didn't work. And again, that's quite common as well. And just to be direct with you about why it happens, it's usually one of three things. So no clear plan, like what is the whole point of this? Maybe it's the wrong message. Again, maybe it's just not a proper story for the news journalist. Maybe it'd be a better blog or a feature, and maybe not enough consistency. Do you know, are you working to consistently raise your profile? It's also, there's a timing issue as well. I'll give you an example. I did a press release last week. It was for the local papers, and they happened to have a page that they needed to fill. So it did. I, I'm confident they would have published it anyway, but because they had a page to fill, we probably got more space than what we might have normally got. So again, none of these are reasons to stop doing PR. We just need to do it properly and just reframe slightly what it is that you're actually doing. Again, the lovely Denise, one of my founder members, she was one of the, I've done PR before and it hasn't worked. Anyway, we're now doing PR properly. She's getting the opportunities. She is getting, you know, herself out in front of different clients, podcasts. She did a summit. It's all brilliant. But again, it's never too early to do PR for your business. And if it hasn't worked for you before, we just need to get a process in place. So this is where it starts to get interesting now, because when I ask people why they're not getting in the media, they sometimes blame themselves. So please don't. They think they're not interesting enough, or they're not well known enough, and that's almost never the real reason. So I'm going to give you three reasons as to why that things might be missing. So no plan in place, not clear on what you're saying, and lack that confidence to take action. Here, I am all about the plan, by the way. Just you probably gathered that by now, but yeah, it's all about the plan. And from that plan, we can then address the other two aspects of it. So again, no plan in place, fail the plan, plan to fail. You've heard that before. It does apply to your PR as well. So without a plan, no one's going to know about you. You know, your competitors who may do have a plan, they're going to get the visibility that should be yours. And again, that's the very first stage in press, P for plan. Mapping out your visibility goals and creating your personalized profile. And even when a new client comes on board with me, when I'm working one-to-one with them, we sit down and we do a plan and call. I very rarely work with somebody when I don't have that in place. I had a call with somebody the other week and they wanted X, Y, and Z done. And I said, no, the foundation would be the plan and call. And then we could build out from there. Missing thing number two is if you're not clear on what you're saying, this is your message. So if your message is a bit fuzzy, then it won't be clear about what you do. And when I say no one will hear you, think about how you scroll on social. Think about how you flick through the news headlines. Do you know if things are if the writing's too long, you scroll on by. Like we all do it, we're all guilty of it. So again, we need to get really clear on what it is you're saying. And when it comes to the media, you need to first of all be really clear to the journalist what you're saying, never mind the audience who's going to be reading it. So there's a wee bit of work to do in and around that as well. So getting crystal clear on your message is all part of E for engage. So it's getting clear on your pitch so that journalists and audiences really understand who you are and why you matter and why you should have their attention and not somebody else. Again, this upsets me that people lack the confidence to take action. And again, I absolutely get it. You know, it's that what will people say or I'm not good enough. But you know, if not you, then who? Um, Nobody else is going to do it for you unless you're going to just pay for a massive advertising. But we've established we don't have the budget for that. We need to be looking at the PR approach. And this is about stage 5S for shine, you know, giving you the confidence to get the recognition that you absolutely deserve for your work. So why am I telling you all of this? First of all, it's I want to help you succeed. And that's literally it. That's why I'm here. I have no hidden agendas, nothing hidden behind here at all. And I've seen what happens when people get visible. They get new clients, they get speaking opportunities, podcasts, events, media coverage that builds on itself. You know when people start saying, "Oh, I heard you on the radio," or I read about you in the paper last week," or even, "Oh, I love your stuff on LinkedIn." You when you're out networking, you're talking to somebody and somebody says that to you, and it's like, well, could you not have commented on my post to help with the algorithm? But people are watching, people will read about you, they will hear about you. And it's just that confidence that comes from knowing that you're being heard. And I want that for whoever is on this call or watching the replay. And again, we then start get to these little what if thoughts in our head when it comes to media. What if I mess up? What if no one wants to hear what I have to say? Or what if someone laughs at me? Or again, that what if I'm showing off? What do people think that? Well, I mean, so what? Those thoughts are completely and utterly normal, and everyone who has stood, speaking for myself, sorry, stood in the wings waiting to go on to a broadcast opportunity, your knees are knocking. That is absolutely fine. But if you're prepared, if you're briefed, if you have your script, if you've practiced out loud, it's going to go well. And what if you mess up? Well, in one of my training courses, we I do highlight people who have messed up, and I guarantee you'll never be as bad as them. You think of all the politicians who mess up. Think about, the business leaders who've messed up. You're never going to be at that level of mess up. I can absolutely assure you of that. So the thing is, what if we work together to get that PR plan in place, get clear on what you're saying, and take action to get you in the media? What would change for your business if you could start to get that profile up? Note it down on your notebook there, but have a real good, have a reflect, have a good think. What if I could get some media coverage? What if somebody needed to hear what you have to say? What if you sent out that press release? What if you inspired someone to take action? Or what if you did that media interview? What would that mean for you and your business? And you're not going to get any of these things unless you actually take that action, take that next small step, then the next step, then the next step. So let's talk about how. So these Oh, that's my doggy doorbell going now. So let's bring it all together and three actions that you can take right now to get in the media. And again, I don't want to make vague suggestions. I want to be very specific, practical, give you things that you can actually do. But they're only starting points. There's something that are part of a bigger system. But again, start taking these actions. So we need to solve these things that are going through our head at the minute. Oh, I don't know where to start. My to-do list is 25,000 things long. I'm just winging it. It's overwhelming. I'm feeling a bit sick at the thought of it. I haven't got time. Going to share 3 actions to address all of these directly. So, what are journalists actually looking for? Now, this is where most people get it wrong. They want clear angles that matter to their audience, not your business. They want stories to explain why now, just not what you do. There's no point in sending a journalist a badly written ChatGPT load of waffle, which comes across as marketing spiel. And I'm being polite to my marketing colleagues here. We all have our jobs to do. They want real people, real experience, informed opinions, and they want clarity and relevance, not long explanations or jargon. So again, what gets ignored? Generic announcements, overly promotional pitches, anything that feels like marketing copy. So we need to reframe what's being written. We need to decide if it's actually a newsworthy story. And again, learning how to read the media landscape and pitch with purpose is part of press. It's part of what I do with my one-to-one clients as well. So do you have an idea or a story that a journalist might want? Note it down in your notebook. If you're feeling really brave, pop it in the chat, drop it in the comments under this recorded video. But again, what's going on in your head that might make a really good story? And when thinking about those angles that matter to the journalist audience, now if maybe you have an environment story, again, you want to go to the environment correspondents. You don't want to be going to the tech journalists. So again, think about the publication. Go out and buy the magazines, buy the newspapers, read them, see what people are writing about, see the angles they're taken, and then start to frame your story within that context as well. We also need to look at what you already do into media-friendly stories, ideas. When I'm talking to people and they start telling me about their business and what they do, I'm just like, wow, that is amazing. I can start to see the stories that are already there. You just haven't recognized it yet. So your experience, your opinions, your client work are often the stories, particularly opinion pieces. Again, back to what we talked about at the start. On a hot sunny day, what opinions have you got on that? Have you an opinion on climate change? Have you an opinion on, staying safe in the sun? Those kind of angles will really start to work. Everyday challenges can become strong angles. What have you overcome in your business? Who have you helped to overcome challenges if those are part of your clients? Journalists are interested in insight, not perfection. So you don't need to invent stories, you need to recognize them. Equally, you don't need to spend 3 days writing this perfect piece of prose that you're going to send out because it's not going to get read. If it's too long, if it's too waffly, we've just established that a journalist is just going to skip over it. So again, how do you start to create that pitch with a really good, strong hook based on what it is your story is about to start to attract attention? So you have a newsworthy story, I guarantee it. We just need to find it. And again, can you write down 3 things that happened in your business last week that are potentially, a good story? Drop them in your notebook, drop them in the comments, write them in the chat if you're feeling brave. But again, there are things happening that you could potentially create a story about. Have you won an award? Have you launched a new product? Have you, I don't know. Do you remember Storm Owen a couple of years ago? And obviously all the electricity went down. There was a lot of businesses struggling. Again, you'll see on the BBC coverage, there was a lady, she was a cake maker, couldn't decorate her cake. She was melting chocolate by candlelight. That was a brilliant story. Not brilliant in the fact that she had no electricity and was struggling with her business, but again, she got her profile out there. She was able to communicate about the challenges. And again, that would have helped her reputation, particularly with her clients. So again, start to build your story bank, start to write them down. We can create some coverage out of that. And again, the follow through is really important as well. Again, it's all about taking action. I am the world's worst overthinker. I am not going to lie. But sometimes you just need to get it written, get it down and press send. Take that deep breath, hit the button, and you press send, and you're like, oh my goodness, where's the undo? No, you don't undo it. You just let it go out because you spent all the time getting your story together. You've got a really good press release. Send it out. Again, stop second guessing yourself. You are the expert in what you do. So you need to get that out there front and center. Have that confidence in your product, business, or service to start to tell people about it. And don't stay stuck. I'm going to change that line on social media. Go beyond it because you'll all know like impressions, engagement, it's all taken a real dive recently, particularly on LinkedIn. And again, Instagram is hard work, but I'm finding videos are working really well for that. We can talk about that later as well. And then you've got TikTok and people are just scrolling on by. So you might have 1,000 views on a particular post, but is it converting anything in terms of sales? So again, I'd be interested in your thoughts on that. But yeah, go beyond social media. So into the press, onto podcasts, speaking gigs, whatever it happens to be. And again, it's about the momentum rather than getting everything right. People getting media coverage, like I've said, they're not better than you. They're just people who've taken that next step. They've taken some action. So again, is there a PR action that you've been putting off? Jot it in your notebook. Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comments. And again, we need to be starting that consistent PR approach. So posting consistently on socials, as well as consistently finding stories to blog about, to look for features, to pitch to podcast, to pitch to media. Every week you show up, every week you make progress. That's how your visibility then starts to compound. So I'm going to give you just a quick example of this in action because I want you to see this is not theory. This is what I do day in, day out with my clients. So I worked for Great Big Green Week for the Climate Coalition last week. I'm working for it again. Great Big Green Week takes place 6th to 14th of June this year. That's next week. There's a lot of media work going on in between these types of webinars. But last year, the goal was to make Great Big Green Week mainstream. I had to get it into the mainstream news, to get it from something people vaguely knew about into proper national coverage. And again, I've done exactly what I have told you to do. I created a plan. I identified the correct journalists, I engaged with them and I pitched them and I told the story of those taking part. So it's really easy, I could have just sent out press release going, oh, this is happening next week, what to do. But when you start to get real people involved, the communities involved, the community leaders involved, that's a much more powerful story to tell about why they're taking part, particularly in local media outlets. And the results spoke for themselves. We had over a 60 million reach through the media. Not social media, that was additional. There was 510 news articles, there were 14 ITV broadcasts and 32 radio broadcasts. So again, plan the right message and taking that consistent action, it all then started to compound. So whether you're running a national campaign or pitching to your local paper for your first ever article, the principles are absolutely identical. So PR does tend to slip down the list for people. And again, again, I'm going to acknowledge it's really, really hard when you're being bombarded left, right, and centre by all these AI, do this and AI will solve all your problems, will create all your assistance, do this, your marketing, then there's all the things. I'm overwhelmed myself even looking at some of it. But why PR slips down the list for most people is they don't know why it's important. Again, getting out from behind that social media bubble into a different area, helping different people, your clients, start to hear about you. Again, no accountability to follow through. And again, oh, I'll do that next week. And then you don't, but you don't have me in your ear going, have you done that yet? And also PR becomes something that I'll get round to it. Because again, you've got the list, you're feeling overwhelmed. But meanwhile, your customers don't hear about you. So we need to start taking action on that. And this is where press comes in. I'm going to tell you about my press community and then we'll do some Q&As at the end if you've any burning questions to ask about PR in general. Again, there's nothing off limits. I am not here to gatekeep. So press is a membership community for business owners and leaders who want to get a hands-on approach to PR with guidance and support to help them get in the media. You can work one-to-one with me. This is a much more cost-effective option if you don't have a large budget. And again, it's not a course you sit through on your own. It's a community. I'm not going to put you through this and upsell you to something else. It's structure, it's expert feedback, it's encouragement designed for you on your terms. And again, the press framework, like I've already talked about, has 5 stages. So it's how to plan your PR and it all builds then through. So after you plan, we need to discuss who we're going to reach, who's your audience. There's modules within that. Then we need to engage with them. Then we need to find your story and your messaging. And then we need to absolutely shine. So just by way of example, we talk about defining your version of visibility, we map out your PR goals, and you create your own personalized press roadmap. And we do cover the what ifs within this module, and we get rid of them forever, I hope. And then what if somebody needs to work with you? This is the approach to be taken. Again, in terms of reaching your audience, it's getting really crystal clear on who you're talking to. Your audience is not the whole world. That's the second thing I want you to take away from this today. Your audience is not the whole world. You're working with very specific people. Maybe it's a geographic location, maybe it's people of a certain age, maybe it's families with children of a certain age. We need to sit and map all that out. And then that helps us bring focus to what it is we're trying to do. And again, we talk then about how to reach your audience and creating content that resonates with your audience. Engaging is all about showing up with purpose, building relationships with the media. Where to find journalists as well comes into that. And again, how to nurture your audience, because you need to build relationships with journalists, with your potential customers, with your stakeholders. And again, storytelling. I absolutely love the storytelling aspect of PR. It's finding and refining your key messages. It's building your story bank and media toolkit. It's sharing your story with confidence. And within each module, like there's several more aspects to it, and it's just really small, easy to follow, bite-sized video training. And then also you get my expert feedback as well. And then shining, getting your first feature talk or press one. Maybe you already have some. I would love to hear about it. So we need to get you another one. It's about staying visible and credible, and it's about leading with authority and sustaining your visibility long term. And again, I think the thing about PR as well is like just send out a press release this work and you don't get coverage and oh, I'm done. That's not going to work. It's how we think, how do we plan out the next year or the next 6 months in terms of your PR? We need to think about that. So, do you feel any of these? If you feel any of these, even one of them, note it down, stick your hand up, drop it in the chat, tell me in the comments. But if you want to know where to start, if you want to stop making it up as you go along, if taking action actually maybe feels a wee bit within reach now, if you're thinking, I need to show off about how good I am, or maybe you're feeling a wee bit less sick at the thought of it and you want to help your customers, let me know. Press would then be perfect for you to help you learn your media approach, learn how to write press releases and pitches, and get accountability, take action. And the accountability bit is really, really key. You'll have seen from Tony's review earlier on, he really does value that every Monday, the accountability. So what's in it for you? If you have no idea where to start, you'll get a clear plan to help you get visible. If you're feeling like the best kept secret, we'll get you in front of the right people at the right time. And again, if you're second guessing, if you're unsure of yourself, we can get you a message that connects and gets picked up. And again, I know you have something interesting to say. I know you have a story that people will stop and remember, and I just love to help people just like you to get that story out there. And again, no more shrinking back, no more, oh, I don't want to toot my own horn, or no more, I don't like to boast. But start boasting, start tooting. Let's put the spotlight on you as the expert that you definitely are within your sphere of business. So you're going to absolutely shine from that. And just to tell you a bit about what you get as well, if maybe a one-to-one approach would be better for you. I do mentoring, I do coaching, I do bespoke training for teams as well. But maybe if you're a small business owner, press is more what you need. There's a weekly live session every Monday. You can ask me anything. We go through a particular training topic, and all those come from the members. So I'm not creating stuff for the sake of it. The members have all told me what it is that they want me to cover, and I do that. Access to expert feedback, that's me, on your pitches and messaging. Again, love getting an email in, going, I've written this, what do you think? And yes, yeah, let's tailor it, or no, that's good to go. Again, structured 5-stage press framework that I use on a daily basis. Any asset, template, checklist, or guide that I have, it's all yours. Again, I will not gatekeep. If you need something, I will either have it from my 25 years or I will create it for you to help you get the best PR that you possibly can. It's a private community. It's built a membership.io. So again, all the information you need is there. And again, we do media and social media masterclasses as well. There's actually one coming up on this Monday I'm really excited about. We have a meta ad specialist coming in to help us learn how to do advertising better. And in terms of success, so again, Helena is one of my founder members. She's a first aid expert. She's flying. She is pitched to radio leads. She has had a couple of slots on that. Again, I helped her create. No, she created her own pitch, and I gave her the advice on it. And it started to come together. She's also got some really, really good press coverage as well. And we sat and thought about, what is coming up that would be a good opportunity for a first aid trainer. So Halloween, burns. Christmas, you've got choking, you've got allergies because you're eating all sorts of different foods. And then at Easter as well, we talked about allergies, choking on, like toys you get in Easter eggs. So there's all different angles that she can be taken at specific points of the year. And again, that helps her build up that plan and that rhythm for her PR. Um, the brilliant Gail is also a member. And again, she came to actually one of these webinars and took action straight after it. She did what the 3 steps that I've advised you to do. She secured herself media coverage. She's since got herself a podcast. She has, she's just absolutely flying. And again, this is one of the emails I got in from one of my members, which just made me laugh out loud. They drafted a pitch and they'd sent it. And that was the achievement for them, the fact that they had hit send on the button, which was brilliant. I love getting those emails in. So just to let you know, press is £55 a month. There's some bonuses I'll tell you about now. There is currently no commitment. Ideally, you would come in and work on this long term, but if you come in and you decide you don't like it in a month, you can leave any time. And I've got a special link for that. So you'll get full access to the online hub, the weekly training sessions. I did PR power hours before Christmas. You'll have access to all those trainings. Instant access to my How to Write a Press Release training, and again, the fast action bonus, which is a personal 90-day PR plan valued at $249. And again, this is what I take the majority of my clients through. It's a one-to-one 60-minute strategy session to create your PR roadmap. So basically, you come on a call with me for an hour, and we schedule it at a time that suits you, and then I ask you lots of different questions, and you tell me everything. And then as a result of that, I can then shape your PR plan. So I go away and I have a think about that, and I get it into a structure and a format, and then that gives you something to work on. So that is available until Thursday lunchtime. That's tomorrow at lunchtime if anybody wants to take advantage of that. So things to think about just when it comes to your PR. I just want you to remember it's not a one-off task. It's a journey. Everybody's on a journey, but again, it takes time to build your momentum, your visibility, your coverage, your credibility. And again, it's a compounding effect. Consistency will beat intensity every single time. So one press release, that's not a strategy, but say a year, 6 months of structured, consistent visibility work is what will separate you from those who don't want to get known. And it's 1.83 a day. Now, where can you get a cup of coffee for one? I drink tea. Where can you get a cup of tea or coffee for 1.80? One of my best LinkedIn posts, actually, it was a poll. It was a rant about the price of a Starbucks at one of the airports here. It's £4.20 for a cup of tea. I didn't pay it. I waited till I got to Greg's on the other side and paid 1.80. Anyway, I digress again very slightly. But my point is, it's expert guidance, accountability, a private community, all the tools, templates, pitch docs you could ever want, and a structured framework for less than that cup of tea or coffee that you're picking up on the way into work. So again, just to give you a bit more context, a half-day training course. If you have a team who needs some training with myself, that will start from £950. Hourly PR support can start at £75 as well. And if you wanted me then to start writing your press releases and things, then we're looking at, from £650 and upwards, just purely for the time that it takes to create these things, to get the feedback, the to and the fro-in. So again, I've priced the press membership as something with a lot more value. When you're starting out, when you're a small business and you don't have those huge, big budgets. So again, 4 hours support per month for £55, not £75 per hour. So you've a couple of options at the minute. You're welcome to join Press now, or please book a call with me. I do love a cup of tea in the chat. If you want to talk through more, if you want to have more of a conversation about how I can help you, maybe something specific that you want to go through, please book a call with me. So there's some slots available at that link, or you're welcome to come into Press now. You'd be very, very welcome. Just in terms of the hub, so it's all built out in membership.io at the minute. And again, all your training videos are there. We've got the welcome sequence, there's a 5-step press challenge. And again, that is evolving on a daily basis. I have another big load of content to upload this afternoon just to keep everybody moving forward. But the real value actually is the Monday calls. The we have our hour-long session. And again, it's just that accountability, that's understanding what people are working on. It's me being able to answer questions and give feedback in really good time. So again, another lovely testimonial here from Gail. This is what she posted after she joined Press. The other testimonial was, or the email testimony she'd given, or the post that she'd done on LinkedIn, was before she'd even joined. So again, she's very new into running her particular business, but she's learned how to reach out to journalists, secure those podcast opportunities. She's got a cracking podcast on the go at the minute, and promote herself and her business in a way that feels aligned to her. And again, this was off the back of one of the strategy calls I did. Yep, again, it resonated with the client at the time. The press, she's now subsequently joined Press, but again, it really just helped her get that structure and focus in terms of what it is she needed to do next. So, going to open up for questions now. If you want to drop some questions in the chat, you're very, very welcome. Or send them to me afterwards, or just book a call and we'll just have a chat. There will be absolutely no hard sell involved. I genuinely love meeting people and understanding their business and trying to understand what stories they might have. So with some people having to, yes, I have to shoot off. What time is it? I appreciate it's lunchtime, and people have to go and they're going to book a call. That is brilliant. But yeah, thank you so much for your time today. I will get this out into a replay for you. I will send out the booking links. But yeah, book a cup of tea and a chat. Let us talk about how I can help you get the confidence to raise your profile using the power of PR, and you'd be very welcome to do that. And again, Press on Monday is going to be with a meta ad specialist, and you'd be very welcome to come in to that as well as a Press member. So I'm going to read the chat now. Thank you so much for your time. I will stop the recording and then we can have a proper chat.